The world was on fire and no one could save me but you. It's strange what desire will make foolish people do. I never dreamed that I'd meet somebody like you. I never dreamed that I'd lose somebody like you. No, I don't wanna fall in love. No, I don't wanna fall in love with you. What a wicked game to play to make me feel this way. What a wicked thing to do to let me dream of you. What a wicked thing to say. You never felt this way. What a wicked thing to do to make me dream of you. And I don't wanna fall in love. No, I don't wanna fall in love with you. This girl is only gonna break your heart. What a wicked game to play. Wicked Game by Chris Isaac. What a cool song. And that's all the lyrics. I mean, it repeats, but that's it. How can such few words be so powerful, right? So let's take a look at it. The world was on fire and no one could save me but you. Well, it's pretty self-explanatory, doesn't need a lot. But so he's fixated on this. It would be the one. She's the one, right? And, you know, sometimes we think, well, this person is the one. And then other times we think, well, there's actually a lot of people I could probably be in a very amazing relationship with. It's not just one person. But is that true or not? I mean, let's see. What else do we have? It's strange what desire will make foolish people do. Well, isn't that the truth? How many times do we do things we end up regretting, or maybe we get into relationships that don't end up working out, but are you glad they happened or not? I can say the last however many that I've had, I'm glad it happened, even if they didn't work out. There have been some cool women and learned a lot. And as the next relationship will get an even more upgraded version of myself to start from. Still going. I never dreamed that I'd meet somebody like you. So everyone is unique, right? We have some people that are pretty similar, I guess, but for the most part, I don't know, how similar are people really? So when you do find that woman that has the vibe that you like. Sometimes we can try too hard. So sometimes we'll get the advice, if you like a woman, don't let her know. Let her come to you. Make her jealous even. It's just kind of a weird one. But this is advice from this is kind of like this dating advice that guys end up getting. I think women probably get the same. But make them chase a little. Then they appreciate what they have, what they get or something. He's putting this woman on quite the pedestal, right? I never dreamed that I'd meet somebody like you. Well, what is she like? It helps when these women pay attention to us. Like when the feeling is mutual, that's really great. Or when you think someone is unobtainable, and then it ends up working out for however long. And then he goes on to say, and I never dreamed that I'd lose somebody like you. So at what state is he writing this in? Did he really lose her? Is he looking back? Okay, so now he's back to, no, I don't want to fall in love. And then there's the part where it kind of like whispers, this girl is only going to break your heart. And maybe that's his subconscious talking, not subconscious, the back of his mind, that voice in the back of his mind, where our eyes are in the front of our mind, and that's what we're using to focus on what we want. And so maybe there is that part in the back of the mind that isn't looking through the rose-colored glasses or into her eyes and getting drawn in. What a wicked game to play to make me feel this way. What a wicked thing to do to let me dream of you. What a wicked thing to say, you never felt this way. What a wicked thing to do to make me dream of you. That's all the lyrics. It just repeats. So there's been times, I guess it's been a bunch of times, however many times. There was one in particular that I was thinking of where it seemed like the stars were all aligned for this relationship to happen. Somebody that, I don't want to get into that whole story, but someone that I met, I don't want to get into that whole story. I often say more than I should on this show, and I talk about people that listen to the show. And so I think I do a pretty good job of keeping people's anonymity anonymous. Their anonymity anonymous. They're, you know what I'm saying. I think I'm pretty good at not. But if it's you that I'm talking about, you probably figure it out. But that's okay. I think. Where was I? Okay, so what a wicked thing to say. You never felt this way. So like in particular, she was like saying all this stuff, and it was like this, seemed like this magical timing, this amazing sequence of events. I was just getting out of this other relationship, and this thing started up very unexpectedly, and it just seemed amazing. And then it didn't work. And it was kind of confusing. But just better off as friends or whatever, and that's okay. I don't dwell on, oh, I wish it would have worked. Because what is that? So why would it gets pretty complicated, all these different situations, and that's why there's 7 billion lonely people on this planet. Because it can be really hard to understand people. It can be really hard. I think I do a really good job of trying, and something that's maybe too much. Maybe too much, because some of this, I don't follow it, this advice, but I think about it. You don't want to be too overwhelming. And I think maybe there's times when it can get a little intense. Because if I'm with someone, then I'm with someone. If it doesn't work out, I'm not dwelling on it. I'm not obsessed and calling and texting when it's not wanted or anything like that. But if there's a date number 1 and we want to have a date number 2, I'm not going to go out with anyone else in between. And if there's a date number 2 and then a date number 3 planned, I'm not going to see anybody else in between. So it's like, if I'm giving something a chance, I don't want to mess up that chance. And I would hope that she's doing the same. And it's kind of weird. It may be a different kind of way of thinking than a lot of people have. Well, they just like date all kinds of people all the time, or this polyamorous thing, which is not for me at all. But this is quite the song, right? Maybe I'll come back to that in a little bit. So I don't want to give too much away of a lot of this I've talked about before. So I just got back a little bit ago from seeing the Roger Waters Us and Them film with Joey Lavelle, and it was powerful. And Pink Floyd, Roger Waters have been my favorite band for so long. I hope I'm not repeating myself. I restarted this podcast, so I don't think I'm repeating myself. But I highly recommend seeing it. It was only in theaters for 2 days, and it's like these kind of like specialty theaters. We went to one that's on 86 and Michigan Road in Indianapolis. It's like studio movie and grill studio something. I forget what it's called, but it's like lounge seating. You don't like go to a concession stand and then carry your drinks and your popcorn back to your seat. You take a menu to your seat. You press this button when you're ready. The server comes to you, takes your order, brings you your stuff, and it's really nice stuff. It's high quality food, and it's it was surprising. I thought it was going to be pretty nice, but I wasn't expecting that, like lounge seats. And it's like if people like get up to leave, nobody is standing and getting in. Nobody is. There's plenty of room to walk by, so you don't have to like hold your popcorn and your drink and scoot your legs to the side while they bump into you and drop their drink and popcorn on you. And it's none of that. It's plenty of room. It's really nice. It sounded great. The movie, the film was made. So it was like a concert, but if you know how Roger Waters does it, it's not just like, oh, we'll just put the camera on him while he sings and plays guitar and stuff. It's a whole production. It was something else. there's just something about Pink Floyd, and like I played some of it on guitar. Wicked Game, I learned it today on guitar, pretty much. And it's just a few chords, just 3 chords basically. And I was doing like, I don't know, I think I'm going to end up playing it pretty cool way. I found a guy playing it on YouTube that I really like his style for like playing it by yourself with an acoustic guitar. It's pretty cool. But like Pink Floyd's like one I've kind of almost left alone. I used to play, well, I did play some of the songs, but not too much. And I'm just now trying to be more consistent with my playing. I bought a guitar off a buddy of mine. He gave me a good deal on it. And so I've been playing my old one too. I have old classical. And then this new one, acoustic. But I've been trying to play some more songs that are just like easier to learn. When I started playing like classical kinds of music, everything was so hard. It was like super complicated for me, and it took forever to learn stuff. And so it's kind of refreshing to just be able to pretty much learn a song in just a few minutes. And then it takes time to like polish it up and figure out what I'm going to do with it. But anyways, I highly recommend seeing that movie. And part of it, the us and them. So like the thing is, there is no them. It's all just us. We're all us. And you know how Roger Waters gets political, and it was showing like pictures of Trump, and it's pretty anti-Trump stuff, which is okay. People are perfectly fine with people being whatever. But it showed Trump kind of like superimposed, I think might be the word, with Hitler. So it's like showing that like Trump is like Hitler, and I don't see the connection there. To me, you can have your complaints with Trump, but there's no comparison to Hitler. So to me, it wasn't like the whole thing was like Roger Waters is trying to make these specific political points or anything. But too often people get into these comparisons like, oh, he's a racist. He's Hitler. Or really? Are you sure about that? I'm not a big Trump supporter or anything, but I think I'm pretty good at looking at things as objectively as I can. I don't know if anybody can just see things perfectly, objectively. But it was an amazing film. It didn't like upset me that he has Trump up there or anything. It didn't bother me. It was an amazing film. Yesterday, as well, I'm seeing in my mind. I haven't put it all together yet, but like so the Wicked Game theme. I knew I wanted to sing and break down Wicked Game, but I'm not just talking about the romantic relationship, the potential, the going through it, the ending, the beginning, middle, end kind of thing. But also the other parts of our life that are that it's these beginning, middle, end, and all of the dramas that go along with each stage of these periods of time. Yesterday, hopefully I'll be able to tie it in later, and if not, I think you'll still see. You'll see what I'm not saying. But so yesterday there was it ended up being five of us that ended up meeting out at this park, climbing trees and just playing around out in the woods. And it was so fun. And so I'm 40. The friends I was with, like Caitlin, I'm not sure how old she is. I think Joey's 28. Ethan just turned 30. I think Eve is in her early 20s. And so I'm 40, but we were like we were climbing around on this rope tree at the playground at the park. And these little kids come up, this like little girl is probably like 6, 7, and then her like brothers and sisters were give or take a couple years, right? And he said one of them said something about like the big kids are on it, so they were calling us the big kids. Man, that is so cool. And like when the little girl's climbing up, and I was like, "Oh, you guys are good climbers," and she goes, "Oh, thanks." She said, "You're a good climber too." Thanks. And so we got off and let them, climb around on it and stuff, and went and did some other things. And uh, if you care to follow me on Instagram, it's at Hadley Fitness, at Hadley Fitness. And I never really introduced myself on this show, and I don't know whether to assume people know my name or not. I know some people do, but it's Ryan Hadley. I rarely say it. I think I used to at the beginning but I'm 100 and this is 100. This is episode 130. Done 100. This is 130 episodes. It's pretty cool. So what was I saying? Oh, so playing around out in the woods, and like these things that we do. So we were out there, like me and Joey, we were there for uh, like 5 hours or something like that. And then a couple of the other ones, a few of the other ones they were like a little more like staggered through the time when a couple of them couldn't get there till like 3:30. A few of us met at 1, a couple more came at 3:30, that sort of thing. And but it comes to an end also. And I don't know how to make my point with that. Like, that's kind of what makes it so great. We not that everything is like, oh, we're gonna die sometime, so we better have fun. Not like that's always on the front of the mind, but there's some like, how do you want to live your life? Who do you want to spend your time with? Because we only get so much, and we don't know when checkout time is. So we just don't know. But um, that's kind of what I recommend. I have like such a cool group of friends. Like we trust each other, and so I was uh, thinking, okay, I'm going to do like the forward roll. I'm going to run, jump up onto this little stone fence thing and then roll off of it. And Joey was like, I don't know, that's the best idea. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just warm up to it first. So I jump over it and roll out. And then I got to where I was standing on top of it and rolling out. And then Eve is watching me and she's like, oh, you should jump out farther. Like I was like basically tucking too early or something. So she was like pointing to this spot in the grass where I should aim for. And then I ended up shooting past that and rolling out of it. And she was right. It was cool. Like Joey, he was planning on doing something. And I was over doing something else. And they were like, and then Eve and Ethan were telling him, no, you don't do that. And I was like, what? And then they told me what he was going to do. And I was like, oh yeah, no, you're not going to do that. And so like most of the time we're kind of like cheering each other on. Oh yeah, you can do it. You can do it. Cool. You need a spot. You need to make sure, this, whatever stunt you're about to do is as safe as possible. But then sometimes we just tell the other person, no, you are not going to try to jump from there to there and have a 40-foot drop underneath you. No. And most of the time we listen to each other. It's pretty cool. I can't help but get back to like relationship stuff, whether it's a relationship with friends or potential girlfriends. I've been single for a while now. And I hadn't until pretty recently had anyone really floating around my mind too much. But there's this part of me that well, I just pulled this song up. It's called Love the One You're With. Stephen Stills. If you're down and confused and you don't remember who you're talking to, concentration slip away because your baby is so far away. Well, there's a rose in a fisted glove, and the eagle flies with the dove. And if you can't be with the one you love, honey, love the one you're with. Don't be angry, don't be sad, don't sit crying over good times you've had. There's a girl right next to you, and she's just waiting for something to do. Well, there's a rose in a fisted glove, and the eagle flies with the dove. And if you can't be with the one you love, honey, love the one you're with. Turn your heartache right into joy, 'cause she's a girl and you're a boy. Get it together, come on, make it nice. You ain't gonna need any more advice. Well, there's a rose in a fisted glove, and the eagle flies with the dove. And if you can't be the one you love, honey, love the one you're with. I used to not like that song. The way I heard it before, I guess when I was in high school or whatever, I took it as the wrong message. But then later on, I started to hear it a little bit different. How do you hear it? Does it sound like does it sound like good, or is he being, how does it sound to you? I mean, now it seems pretty obvious because I guess now my life experience understands this in this particular way. but maybe your life experience makes you understand it a different way. Because if you're talking about like, oh, there's the one. Okay, I'm waiting for the one. Okay, here's this girl. Oh, she's great, but I mean, did you see her shoes? I don't like her shoes. You know, we can sabotage ourselves. We sabotage ourselves. I think we sabotage our relationships a lot. A lot of us just seem to be on self-destruct. So I hope my volume is right this time. I did a tribute to Robert Hunter, and I had my microphone up too loud, and I know I'm not a great singer. I do have a singing lesson planned for next week. Hopefully that'll be better for your ears after that. But I did a Robert Hunter tribute, so I sang a bunch of the Grateful Dead songs, and then when I heard it later, I was like, oh man. So I put it to adjust the volume automatically, and I watch how it does it. Not live, I can't see it now, but hopefully it'll be okay. So hopefully the volume's not messed up, and if it is, then I'll hear it later and I'll fix it for next time. I'm working on making the show sound better, and anyways. So how do you hear this song? Now I hear it as in, okay, so it says, love the one you're with, right? So if you're like waiting for the one, someone to meet all your check marks, I was talking about that on the last episode. You might be missing out on a whole different checklist. Maybe this girl isn't meeting all your little criteria. If you give her a chance, she has this whole other great set of virtues and attributes, and you know, a whole way about her that you're going to be missing if you're doing too much comparison. So it's kind of weird to talk about somebody that I might be interested in. I'm pretty sure I haven't given a clue as to who it would be, but yeah. That song, I like it now. I think it makes sense. But I can see how it can be read like cheating on somebody. Where is it? Well, if you're down and confused and you don't remember who you're talking to, concentration slip away because your baby is so far away. So like, it could be read like, oh, your girlfriend is at home or she's out of town, but here's this other girl you can hook up with tonight, right? It can be read like that, I guess, but I'm I guess choosing not to. I see it a little bit differently now. So what else do we have? Now I see these people that I know, maybe some of them just I know them more, friends that I've had before, and now I see them on Facebook and they're getting married, and I see these little posts that they do, and it might be a little, is it passive aggressive? Is that the right term? Or like, you know, they're probably talking about their husband, or they're talking about and it's not really complimentary, or maybe it's just something that they're going through. And somebody's putting it out there this little phrase is helping me out, help me get through this thing. Because sometimes we can see that. Sometimes people think they're hiding, or maybe just like keeping private, maybe a better way. Maybe they think they're being private, and then when you can tell that there's something going on, right? It's hard to keep our emotions quiet from someone that's paying attention. We can kind of hide it, and everybody's going through a lot, and sometimes it's just a little bit more on the surface for other people, and so you kind of wonder, the relationship is it's a crazy thing how there's so many people and people are so alone. So I just opened it up, this Kahlil Gibran, The Storm, Stories and Short Poems. I turned right to, if you can read that, Solitude and Isolation. So chapter, it's probably too long for me to read right now. There's other, I think most of the stuff in here is too long to read on the air. Was I? Sorry. There's this one that I always have to, Sand and Foam. I'll read from the Sand and Foam and also the Madman, I think. I have the Prophet here, so I have these other ones from the library. I own the Prophet. It was a gift. Maybe I'll see something from the Prophet. There was something that I was thinking of. Yeah. Where's the page? And a youth said, "Speak to us of friendship." And he answered, saying, "Your friend is your needs answered. He is your field, which you sow with love and reap with thanksgiving. And he is your board and your fireside, for you come to him with your hunger, and you seek him for peace. When your friend speaks his mind, you fear not the nay in your own mind, nor do you withhold the a or a. Sorry. Like yes or no, basically. And when he is silent, your heart ceases not to listen to his heart. Listen to that again. And when he is silent, your heart ceases not to listen to his heart. For without words and friendship, all thoughts, all desires, all expectations are born and shared with joy that is unacclaimed. When you part from your friend, you grieve not, for that which you love most in him may be clearer in his absence, as the mountain to the climber is clearer from the plain. And let there be no purpose in friendship save the deepening of the spirit. For love that seeks aught but the pleasure of its own mystery is not love, but a net cast forth, and only the unprofitable is caught. And let your best be for your friend. If he must know the ebb of your tide, let him know its flood also. For what is your friend that you should seek him with hours to kill? Seek him always with hours to live. For it is his to fill your need, but not your emptiness. And in the sweetness of friendship, let there be laughter and sharing of pleasures. For in the dew of little things, the heart finds its morning and is refreshed. I'm going to go on with the prophet. And then a scholar said, "Speak to us of talking." And he answered, saying, "You talk when you cease to be at peace with your thoughts, and when you can no longer dwell in the solitude of your heart, you live in your lips, and sound is a diversion and a pastime. And in much of your talking, thinking is half murdered. For thought is a bird of space, that in a cage of words may indeed unfold its wings, but cannot fly. There are those among you who seek the talkative through fear of being alone. The silence of aloneness reveals to their eyes their naked selves, and they would escape. And there are those who talk, and without knowledge or forethought reveal a truth which they themselves do not understand. And there are those who have the truth within them, but they tell it not in words. In the bosom of such as these spirits dwells in rhythmic silence. When you meet your friend on the roadside or in the marketplace, let the spirit in you move your lips and direct your tongue. Let the voice within your voice speak to the ear of his ear, for his soul will keep the truth of your heart as the taste of the wine is remembered when the color is forgotten and the vessel is no more. I'm a real big fan of Kahlil Gibran. That makes a lot of sense to me, right? Because a lot of times before I start recording, I am getting into this state of uneasiness. Like, the whole point is having something to say and having these thoughts to think out, right? And then he says, and there are those who talk and without knowledge or forethought reveal a truth which they themselves do not understand. See, that happens. When I listen back to the podcast, I don't listen to all of them, but I try to listen so I can see what I can improve on. And sometimes like that, I end up saying something that kind of sinks in for me, and I like it. But I wasn't always this way. I didn't always talk a lot. And so I think there was a time well, part of it probably had to do when I quit drinking and smoking, which was over 7 years ago now. Like smoking weed is what I'm talking about. And I lived a lot of the time by myself. I spent a lot of time by myself. I wasn't talking. And I just pretty much I just didn't have much to say, I guess you could. A lot going on in my mind maybe, but nothing, I don't know. Definitely not like now. I could be around people and not say hardly anything. And now I'm trying to organize these, big like get-togethers and stuff, and speak on a podcast for an hour by myself. But I'm not really by myself. The whole idea is to speak to people, but also it's like it's for me too. I hope people like it. I hope it's not like I'm trying to like share this great wisdom that I have or something like that, but maybe I'm going through these things that other people are going through. I'm kind of into this girl that I hardly know, or I'm have this going on with my friends, or this is going on with my kids, or this is what's going on in business. This is going really great. This is not going great. So I talk about these things as a way that I hope people like, and get something out of. And then I hope to be able to get something out of it too by thinking through these things out loud. But I think there was, I've talked about like the chakras on the air a little bit, I think. And so I've said something like, I was talking about the heart chakra a few episodes ago. And how I would, to tell the story again, but I was driving a cab and in South Broad Ripple, I picked up this old guy. He was probably about like in his 80s, and he'd been drinking quite a bit. I think he was at his lady friend's house. And so I helped him out to the car, and he gets in, and he's like slumped over in the seat, and I realized then that he'd been drinking a lot. And so tells me where he lives and everything, and it's maybe like a 20-minute drive, something like that. And so she's getting him in and getting the seatbelt on, that kind of stuff, and I start creating a connection from my heart to his, except my heart chakra to his, and then running my microcosmic orbit, and then connecting that with his, and I was doing that for a short time, and he sits up real quick and he goes, "I feel a lot better all of a sudden." Like, okay, that's cool. That's some good evidence. And we had just gotten on our way driving. And there was something that was happening. I happen to have this blue shirt on today, which is the color of the throat chakra, if there is such a thing. And so I bet you could tell a lot of people from my family that, I'd be doing a podcast where I'd be speaking for a long time, have all these different guests and speak and have all these amazing conversations. But they'd be shocked to hear that I would do that, because I'm known as somebody that doesn't really talk much. There was something happened like when I quit drinking and smoking. It was 7 years ago, but when I did, I think there was, I don't know if it was like this Kundalini experience. My internal energy just went like through the roof, and I got real hyper, and I was normally really calm. I didn't eat for 5 days or so. It was 5 days, and then on the 6th day, I had a few pieces of popcorn at a movie with my son. And I don't know how much into that story I want to get. I've told it before. But then, like, more and more, I felt like my voice opening up, not just my speaking voice, like thing that, well, I guess what you can hear, but also the interest in expressing myself. And sometimes there's been one relationship that I had in particular where it seemed like, I guess I was talking too much. She seemed to be more of a, almost nothing really needs to be said. And she's kind of what I was referring to in the beginning. I think I mentioned it on this one. I did restart the podcast, which I'm pretty sure I mentioned. But the Wicked Game song, what a wicked thing to say, you never felt this way. And while there's been more than one that have said that to me, it's like the stuff that she said to me, like right from the beginning, was like basically she was all in. And this was the first night that we were really hanging out together. And basically all in. And I was all in too. And it was just, and then, it ended. It was like I had like this desire to like dig into her thoughts, and she did some of that. And maybe like sometimes it can be overwhelming when someone is, has a lot of questions, but also, has a lot to say. So like knowing when to like dial that in. It's like I really care how people think and what they're what's going on in their lives, and how they grew up, and all kinds of everything. And so I guess I try not to get to blabbing too much, like these, like I do on the show when I'm by myself and I just speak for an hour. Try not to be too overwhelming. But, yeah. The Great Longing, Kahlil Gibran. Here I sit between my brother the mountain and my sister the sea. We three are one in aloneness, and the love that binds us together is deep and strong and strange. Nay, it is deeper than my sister's depth, and stronger than my brother's strength, and stranger than the strangeness of my madness. Aeons upon aeons have passed since the first gray dawn made us visible to one another, and though we have seen the birth and the fullness and the death of many worlds, we are still eager and young. We are young and eager, and yet we are mateless and unvisited. And though we lie in unbroken half embrace, we are uncomforted. And what comfort is there for controlled desire and unspent passion? Whence shall come the flaming God to warm my sister's bed? And what she-torrent shall quench my brother's fire? And who is the woman that shall command my heart? In the stillness of the night, my sister murmurs in her sleep the fire god's unknown name, and my brother calls afar upon the cool and distant goddess. But upon whom I call in my sleep, I know not. Here I sit between my brother the mountain and my sister the sea. We three are one in loneliness, and the love that binds us together is deep and strong and strange. I just opened that randomly. I just like flipped it. Night and the Madman. I am like thee, O night, dark and naked. I walk on the flaming path which is above my daydreams, and whenever my foot touches earth, a giant oak tree comes forth. Nay, thou art not like me, O madman, for thou still lookest backward to see how large a footprint thou leavest on the sand. I am like thee, O night, silent and deep, and in the heart of my loneliness lies a goddess in childbed, and in him who is being born, heaven touches hell. Nay, thou art not like me, O madman, for thou shudderest yet before pain, and the song of the abyss terrifies thee. I am like thee, O night, wild and terrible, for my ears are crowded with cries of conquered nations and sighs for forgotten lands. Nay, thou art not like me, O madman, for thou still takest thy little self for a comrade, and with thy monster self thou canst not be a friend. I am like thee, O night, cruel and awful, for my bosom is lit by burning ships at sea, and my lips are wet with blood of slain warriors. Nay, thou art not like me, O madman, for the desire for a sister spirit is yet upon thee, and thou hast not become a law unto thyself. I am like thee, O night, joyous and glad, for he who dwells in my shadow is now drunk with virgin wine, and she who follows me is sinning mirthfully. Nay, thou art not like me, O madman, for thy soul is wrapped in the veil of seven folds, and thou holdest not thy heart in thy hand. He's good, right? You like that? So now I'm reading The Great Longing, the one from before. You know, the right woman. So you have like in Ayurveda, if you're familiar with Ayurveda, I fall into the Pitta dosha. Everyone is each of the three Pitta, Kapha, and Vata. So Pitta is like fire, and so when I think about like the kind of woman that would fit for me, if I think about my past, which ones worked out the best, which ones were, I guess, the best. Because there's some sort of, someone that's earthy is probably good balance. Like when I'm fire, I'm angry. I have like a lot of energy. I like being out, like, um, getting a little rowdy sometimes. And so what balances that out? What complements that and balances that out? And I don't have a specific in mind. I don't know if there's a great answer. So, do you have a way of expressing yourself in a long form conversation? I was on this date the other night, and I'm not interested in the second one. She was great and all, but not for me. And it's like I couldn't hardly get a sentence out with her without her interrupting me, and I was interested in what she had to say. Also, I was asking her questions, and I don't think I was interrupting her. But there's value in just hearing somebody out, hearing somebody talk through what they have going on, and not that you're looking for answers from them or they're looking for answers from you, but just the act of listening. So if somebody takes 10 minutes to tell their story, if it takes 20 minutes and they're just, you don't want every conversation that you have with this person to just be a listen fest for yourself, but hear people out. Because I learned that people do want to tell their story, and people have interesting stories. And so I had one particular relationship where, like, one thing that we were good at was that. I think we did a lot of things well, but um, we were really interested in each person's thoughts and having these deep conversations, exploring our minds, and we'll explore our own mind often with somebody else, as the one thing I read earlier about talking or friendship, and well, several of the things that I read uh, encompass that idea. I'm going to read a little something from Sand and Foam. I'm just going to pick it randomly. Somewhat randomly. Let's see. Is there a... I'll just start reading here. You are but a fragment of your giant self, a mouth that seeks bread, and a blind hand that holds the cup for a thirsty mouth. If you would rise but a cubit above race and country and self, you would indeed become godlike. If I were you, I would not find fault with the sea at low tide. It is a good ship, and our captain is able. It is only your stomach that is in disorder. What we long for and cannot attain is dearer than what we already have attained. Hmm. Should you sit upon a cloud, you would not see the boundary line between one country and another, nor the boundary stone between a farm and a farm. It is a pity you cannot sit upon a cloud. Art is a step from nature toward the infinite. A work of art is a mist carved into an image. Even the hands that make crowns of thorns are better than idle hands. Our most sacred tears never seek our eyes. What's that mean? Our most sacred tears never seek our eyes. I'm gonna have to think about that one for a minute. What's that mean to you? Our most sacred tears never seek our eyes. Most sacred tears never seek our eyes. Is that like the tearless crying thing, like the emotionless emotion, the like what we hold in our mind maybe that is so powerful it can't even get out. It's like so big it can't get out. Or like that feeling when And when you see people where this is, they just can't. Like, I just can't today. And they just can't. They don't have any other way to explain it, is that they just can't. And so maybe that's just like this inner turmoil. They can't talk. They can't think. They just can't. Is that what it means? Is that what it's talking about? So what do we do with these thoughts and these opportunities that we have? Our days are numbered, right? We don't know. We don't know what that number is. Do you take the chance of asking out the girl? Do you take the chance of applying for the job that you want? Do you take the chance of putting yourself out there, taking your music to an open mic night? Like, okay, I got a few songs to play. There's open mic, whatever, Wednesdays at this coffee house. I'm gonna give it a try, which is something I've been considering. I don't really like playing in front of people. I don't like noise when I play. But there may be a time when I'm doing that. I think I'm going to start off on the air, just online, on the podcast, but also like put some music out, just like on Spotify and probably its own YouTube channel and stuff. Why not? When I sing on the air, I'm not like delusional. I think I'm like this great singer. I think I can be. I think it's in there somewhere. I'll see where I'm getting a lesson next week. I'm gonna see where that takes me. See if she's the right teacher. She lives really close to me, and it's like practice more. And part of it is just like it's interesting. Like people have that fear of public speaking, and I've said about the most personal stuff as it gets on this show. I've erased some episodes, but there's still a lot of very personal things. I'm talking about, being into this woman a little bit, and I, don't really know a whole lot about her, but I know a little bit. And I don't know if it's worth pursuing. I don't know if she has a dude. I don't know anything, really. Let's see what happens. Let's keep on rolling. So, let's see what page 130 is in this book. And I'll either sing it or not. Well, there's I turned to I turned into this complete annotated Grateful Dead lyrics. Page 131 is the song "Truckin'." I want to do that. The one right before that is "Ripple," and that's the name of the last. Who wrote "Truck"? It was written by Hunter. I'm sure it was written by Hunter. I'm going to end it with ripple. If my words did glow with the gold of sunshine, and my tunes were played on the harp unstrung, would you hear my voice come through the music? Would you hold it near as it were your own? It's a hand-me-down. The thoughts are broken, perhaps they're better left unsung. I don't know, don't really care. Let there be songs to fill the air, ripple in still water when there is no pebble tossed nor wind to blow. Reach out your hand. If your cup be empty, if your cup is full, may it be again. Let it be known there is a fountain that was not made by the hands of men. There is a road, no simple highway between the dawn and the dark of night. And if you go, no one may follow. That path is for your steps alone. Ripple in still water when there is no pebble tossed nor wind to blow. You who choose to lead must follow, and if you fall alone. If you should stand, then who's to guide you? If I knew the way, I would take you home. Thanks for listening. See you next time.